Before central heating took over our homes, people battled icy rooms and bone-chilling cold every winter. They stacked wood, hauled coal, and fired up fireplaces and stoves. Some methods were clever, others dangerous, and a few would seem unbelievable today. In this video, we'll show you 10 surprising ways people kept their homes warm, long before we could just turn up the thermostat. Open fireplaces. Before modern heating systems, open fireplaces were much more than a cozy living room feature. They were essential for surviving the winter. When snow piled up outside and icy winds blew, families gathered closely around the fire, the only place in the house warm enough to touch. The wood crackled, sparks flew, and smoke rose through large chimneys, designed not for decoration, but to safely vent dangerous fumes. However, open fireplaces had a major drawback. Most of the heat escaped up the chimney, warming only the room with the fire. The rest of the house remained cold. Bedrooms turned into unheated spaces, hallways felt drafty, and kitchens were only warm if a fire burned there too. Maintaining a fireplace required significant effort. Wood had to be chopped, carried, stored, and constantly replenished. Ash built up daily, the hearth needed cleaning, and the first person awake in the morning had to rekindle the embers. If the fire went out overnight, the house cooled quickly. Despite these challenges, open fireplaces remained the heart of the home during winter. Inefficient and labor-intensive, but indispensable. Cast iron stoves. When households realized that open fireplaces sent more heat outside than inside, cast iron stoves became a real game changer. These heavy metal giants offered pure efficiency. Once heated, they could store warmth for hours, even when the fire had burned down to glowing embers. For many families, it felt like a small technological miracle right in the living room. But cast iron stoves didn't just bring comfort, they also required careful attention. Wood had to be split to just the right size to fit perfectly into the stove. Families taught children how to stack logs properly so they would dry well. Everyone knew that damp wood meant smoke, frustration, and cold rooms. Some households even planned their wood supply a year in advance to avoid facing winter with half-rotten logs. The best feature of these stoves was their versatility. The flat top served as a cooking surface. Pots, pans, and kettles could all be placed on the hot iron, making the stove not just a source of warmth, but the center of daily life. Daily cleaning was still necessary. Ash didn't remove itself, and neglecting the stove could quickly result in poor airflow or sooty rooms. Despite the effort, cast iron stoves made winter much more bearable, reliable, robust, and excellent at retaining heat. Coal stoves. As firewood became scarcer and winters felt harsher, households discovered a new weapon against the cold: the coal stove. These solid heating units might have seemed unremarkable at first, but once people experienced how evenly and long coal burned, going back to wood seemed impossible. A well-stocked coal stove could glow all day, sometimes even into the night, a luxury earlier generations could only dream of. However, convenience came at a cost. Every day someone had to carry fresh buckets of coal from the cellar or yard. Fine dust, soot, and the characteristic smell of coal were part of the package. If the ash wasn't carefully removed in the evening, the stove could barely draw the next morning, forcing someone to relight it with cold fingers, blow, stack, and hope. Coal was often delivered in sacks or poured directly into the coal cellar. Children found it fascinating. Adults called it hard work. Coal dust settled everywhere, on clothing, furniture, and even freshly washed laundry. Despite the mess, heavy lifting, and endless buckets of ash, coal stoves were a real step forward. They could reliably heat multiple rooms and gave families the sense that they were finally prepared for winter. In many homes, they became trusted companions, robust, hot, and almost part of the household. Oil heating systems. When people grew tired of carrying coal buckets and dealing with dusty cellars, a new era of warmth began: the oil heating system. For many households, it felt like a technological leap forward. Suddenly, no one had to refuel multiple times a day. A burner handled the work quietly, reliably, and almost automatically. When the temperature dropped, the system switched on. No sparks, no smoke, no shoveling. The real revolution came with the oil tanks. Huge metal containers, hidden in basements or buried outside, stored hundreds of liters of heating oil. They resembled sleepy metal giants, silently waiting to keep the house warm. And when the delivery truck arrived and the driver unrolled the heavy hose, it was clear winter could come. Of course, this new technology brought its own challenges. Oil had a strong smell, some tanks rusted over the years, and late orders could result in cold days and nights. Prices also fluctuated, sometimes drastically. Yet despite these uncertainties, people appreciated the cleanliness, convenience, and reliable warmth provided by oil heating. It transformed heating from a daily chore into an almost invisible process. No soot, no dirt, no sparks. Just consistent, dependable warmth, quietly spreading through the home, making winter feel a little less threatening. Kerosene heaters. Before modern heating systems were reliable or widely available, many households relied on a small but surprisingly powerful source of warmth: the kerosene heater. At first glance, these devices seemed unremarkable, but once the kerosene was lit, the room quickly filled with immediate heat, exactly what was needed on frosty days. No long preheating, no laborious kindling, just a spark, a hiss, and the cold retreated instantly. This efficiency came with a price. Kerosene heaters demanded respect. Placed too close to curtains, furniture, or paper, they could turn from helpful devices into serious hazards. Users quickly learned the importance of distance, ventilation, and vigilance. And then there was the smell, that distinctive, slightly pungent kerosene odor, which became as memorable as the warmth itself. Despite the risks, these heaters offered a major advantage: mobility. A heater could be carried to the room that needed warmth most, whether a freezing bedroom, a drafty workshop, or a space the main heating system never reached. Many households kept spare fuel cans on hand, because running out at the wrong moment could mean a very uncomfortable night. Kerosene heaters also often served as quiet backup heroes. If the main heating failed or an unexpected cold snap hit, a single flick of a switch was enough to bring the warmth back. Practical, powerful, but never without risk. This is how the kerosene heater carved its own place in winter history. Propane. As more people searched for a cleaner, more convenient alternative to wood, coal, or kerosene, an unassuming but incredibly versatile energy source came into focus: propane. Stored in large, white tanks outside the home, it patiently waited to provide heat on demand. No hauling, no shoveling, no sparks. Just a valve, an ignition, and instant warmth. What made propane special was its flexibility. It could power entire heating systems, or small portable devices that could be placed in the room that needed warmth most. Living rooms, workshops, guest rooms. A simple turn of the dial sent the cold retreating within minutes. The response time was impressive. While other fuels needed time to get going, propane burned immediately, brightly, and evenly. Of course, this convenience came with responsibility. Propane had to be stored safely. Tanks required regular inspection, and anyone using open flames quickly learned to pay attention to valves, seals, and ventilation. But this caution paid off. Heating devices were efficient, combustion was clean, and there was little residue or odor. Another advantage was versatility. The same gas that powered heaters could also run stoves, water heaters, or portable cooking devices. One tank, many uses. A concept that made everyday life much simpler. Propane became a quiet, reliable source of energy. Flexible, powerful, and always ready to drive the cold away from where it wasn't wanted. Tiled stove. Before modern heating systems could reliably and evenly warm homes, people relied on the tiled stove, a masterpiece of ceramic, stone, and metal. At first glance, it looked like a piece of furniture, often adorned with decorative tiles, but inside it was the heart of a warm home. Wood or coal was burned in the stove, and the massive tiles stored heat for hours. Unlike open fireplaces, the tiled stove distributed warmth slowly and steadily, keeping the room comfortably heated long after the fire had gone out. Operating it required attention and planning. Wood or coal had to be prepared, replenished, and arranged evenly for optimal burning. When used correctly, the stove could be lit once a day and provide hours of stored heat. The tiles radiated warmth evenly into the room without smoke, sparks, or safety hazards. The tiled stove was also versatile. Many people used its warm surface to heat water, dry clothes, or as a cozy spot to sit near the fire. On particularly cold nights, families gathered close to enjoy the gentle, radiant heat while carrying out everyday tasks like sewing, reading, or playing. Tiled stoves combined efficiency, safety, and comfort in an elegant way. They made heating predictable, reliable, and long-lasting, while turning the home into a warm, inviting space, a quiet companion through long, cold winter days. Electric heaters. With the advent of electricity, households discovered a new, nearly effortless way to heat rooms: electric heaters. These devices were simple to operate, just a switch, maybe a dial, and the room would quickly fill with noticeable warmth. No fireplaces, no stoves, no fuel storage. For many, it felt like a small luxury, transforming heating from a daily chore into the push of a button. Electric heaters came in many forms. Slim, unobtrusive baseboard heaters ran along walls, barely noticeable, but always effective. Portable units could be placed wherever warmth was needed: cold bedrooms, workshops, or offices. Some models even had timers and thermostats, almost futuristic at the time, allowing precise temperature control without stepping outside. Yet, as convenient as they were, electric heaters had drawbacks. Electricity was expensive, especially compared to fuels like wood, coal, or oil. Heating multiple rooms simultaneously quickly drove up costs. Additionally, units had to be placed safely, as hot elements in contact with flammable materials posed fire risks. Still, electric heaters quickly found their niche. They were clean, quiet, low maintenance, and flexible. For many households, they became ideal for small rooms, quick heating, or as a backup when the main heating failed. Practical, immediate, and reliable, electric heaters fundamentally changed the way people kept warm. Personal heating methods. Before modern heating systems were available in every home, people relied on personal heating methods to combat the cold directly. Instead of warming entire houses, the focus was on keeping the body warm. Hot water bottles were among the most popular helpers. Filled with hot water and wrapped in cloth, they kept hands, feet, or beds warm for hours, creating a small, reliable retreat from winter chill. Equally effective were heated stones or bricks. Warmed directly in the fire or on the stove, they were placed in beds, under blankets, or inside small pouches. They released stored heat for hours and were indispensable, especially on farms or in modest households. Thick clothing and layering were another key to staying warm. Wool blankets, heavy sweaters, long underwear, and warm socks turned even cold rooms into bearable spaces. Those who could afford it sometimes used early electric blankets, which worked like hot water bottles but provided consistent warmth without constant reheating. Another technique was pre-warming the bed with heated objects. Before going to sleep, people placed heated stones, metal containers, or hot water bottles in the bed so they could climb into a comfortably warm nest. All these methods had one thing in common: they focused on the individual rather than the whole house. Creative, practical, and personal. These heating techniques helped generations endure long, cold nights when central heating was still a thing of the future. Cast iron radiators. With the arrival of modern heating technologies, many households discovered an elegant and reliable way to keep rooms warm: cast iron radiators. These heavy metal units were often positioned along walls, quiet but unmistakable, and connected to a complex network of pipes that carried water or steam. Once heated, they radiated warmth evenly for hours without the need for constant fuel replenishment. For many families, it felt like a bit of everyday magic: quiet, steady, and predictable. Cast iron radiators had their own character. They could hiss, gurgle, or even knock loudly as metal expanded or steam escaped. These sounds quickly became a familiar part of daily life. At the same time, radiators offered practical benefits beyond heat. Wet gloves, socks, or scarves could be dried on their hot surfaces, and children learned to be careful to avoid burns. Installation required planning. Pipes had to be skillfully routed through walls and floors, and a central boiler, often in the basement, kept water or steam circulating continuously. Regular maintenance was necessary to release air from the lines or check the boiler. Yet, despite these efforts, cast iron radiators provided reliable, clean heat that carried the household through winter. Over time, these systems proved robust, efficient, and almost invisible helpers in the background. They made heating a stable, manageable process, turning cold rooms into comfortable retreats without daily labor. The history of heating shows just how creative, resourceful, and sometimes daring people were to bring warmth into their homes. Today, we simply turn up the thermostat, but back then, every degree of heat meant hard work, careful planning, and sometimes a bit of luck. These old methods remind us how much comfort we enjoy today, and how inventive our ancestors were in defying the winter.